just talking for the last. We already had good-looking dudes, no homo. But you know how it go.
All right.
Bro, really? Here we go again. Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast. Man, welcome back to another episode of the Ruling Class Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Diddy, back up in this bitch with another video. Listen, if you're new to this show, I just ask that you subscribe to the channel. I ask that all of you please like this video. I would really appreciate it. All right, listen, I'm a little bit late on this story. And this video won't even be that long, but I was like, man, I gotta find a way to talk about this. So about a year and a half ago, during the first semester of my second year in graduate school, I took this course called Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, right? And if you don't know what that means, it's basically a course that kind of highlights the history of racism, sexism, right? Discrimination towards someone based on their sex, their gender, their disability, right? Discrimination based on those terms, prejudice towards other people, certain disabilities that they have, and how we can be more inclusive, quote unquote, inclusive for, those marginalized groups of people, right? The class was taught by this, which was new for me, because typically what you find in these universities and these schools, especially nowadays, is they'll have someone of a marginalized group teaching the course. But in this particular case, it was actually a white lady that was teaching the class, all right? And she's and I think she subscribed to my podcast, so she may be watching this episode, but she is one of my most favorite human beings on this planet, all right? But that's a topic for another day. She self-identifies as, how would she say it? She is a white, I believe she used the word lesbian. I'm not sure. I don't want to use the terminology that she doesn't use, but she's a white lesbian Christian woman. All right. So this is how she self-identifies. She kind of put that out there on the table at the beginning of every class. She always had a habit of doing that. All right. But she's married to a woman. So anyways, it was a particular day in class. We were talking about something along the lines of how people can be racist, people can be sexist, people can show prejudice or discrimination towards a person or a group of people, indirectly or without even trying to, right? And so this brought up a conversation about, so after class, I ended up talking to her about this term, and I was like, that's interesting that you say that, because it reminded me of something that was said very popularly when I was in high school and middle school. And I said, it's this term called no homo. And she was like, no homo. And I was like, yeah. She was like, no homo. What is no homo? And I was like, no homo is basically a terminology. Homo is short for homosexual. It's this fancy term that, we use in middle school and high school. It's something that a heterosexual male would say to another heterosexual or assumed heterosexual male. Or even if it was a homosexual male that they were speaking to, if the person that's making the statement is heterosexual, they'll just make the statement of no homo. So whatever it is that they're about to say, it won't be taken out of context, right? So say, for instance, a very common thing that's said is, bro, they'll say no homo, but bro, I love you, man. Don't let that bring you down, bro. You got this. Now, me personally, I don't ever say no homo. I used to say it when I was in high school, but especially when I'm saying I love you to another man, I never say no homo. I don't need to say that. I think part of that is based on a person's insecurity. I think part of it is based on a person trying to be trendy and trying to be like other people. But I think also part of it is that they just don't want to be perceived as somebody who is secretly gay, right? So Cam Johnson, an NBA player, was doing an interview after a game the other day. I think it was about a week ago. And he made the statement no homo on camera. So let's take a listen.
To bring the good looks, because you guys were lacking that.
I seen it, but I was like, man, he just talking for the last. We already had good-looking dudes, no homo. But you know how it go.
All right. I'm sure the legal office will enjoy that one. Spencer, you guys have...
So what trips me out about this video is that, what's the freaking big deal? This is my example. The man ended up being fined $40,000 for saying that. And one of my biggest problems with him being fined is that I don't even think he was fined for saying it. I think he was fined for somebody hearing him say it and not being happy with the statement once they realized what the saying actually meant, right? It's not even a saying that's meant to be hateful, because the purpose of me speaking to my professor that particular day about that saying, because she was completely shocked. She had never heard of it, and I'm not really quite for sure how she felt about it. I don't think she liked the saying. But the saying isn't to discredit or to criticize or to insult, human beings that are homosexual. You know what I mean? The saying is just to kind of clarify that, hey, I'm not saying this in a way where I'm coming on to you, but I'm going to go ahead and make this statement because it needs to be said type deal. It's not a statement that's saying, hey, I don't want to associate with homosexuals, or I don't want to associate with somebody that's gay or somebody that's homosexual. That's not what that saying is about. But this is my problem with society, man. It's like, I question if, like, a lot of the teachings that was in this course, which is not on the professor that was teaching it because it's the curriculum, right? It's what the university wants to be taught. But my thing with this is, are we, the direction that we're going in this society, are we going in this direction because we're truly trying to make this world a better place, or is it just about censoring people, right? Because I think this is more so about censoring somebody. The man didn't mean anything by it. When people said in high school and middle school, as immature as we are at that age, we're not even saying that in a hateful manner towards people who are homosexual. We're just creating a boundary there. That's it, right? But I just question if this is just more about just trying to be so woke and trying to be so politically correct and virtue signal to groups of people. And it's like, it backfires because it's like, what does this solve? Finding this man $40,000, more money than a lot of people make in this country, for saying a phrase that he didn't even mean any disrespect by, does what for who? I just don't get it anymore, man. It's like, what is this society doing? This is proof to me that this is more about censoring people than just allowing people to grow and evolve. Especially, like, do your research on the term, then you'll quickly realize, like, there's no disrespect there, right? And I once heard somebody say, well, you can't choose for someone else on what's considered disrespectful to them. Demetrius, a white person can't tell you what's considered racism towards you. No, but you're missing the point. I can tell you what the term means itself, right? So if me talking is just merely talking offends somebody, should I stop talking? No. If we can universally decide on what that term means and what people are meaning by saying it, then we should all be able to agree that it's not an offensive term. It just don't make sense to me. Y'all up in the comment section, are y'all familiar with the term no homo? What do y'all think about him being fine? What do y'all think about censoring everything that somebody says as it pertains to a group of people that people feel like is being marginalized? Y'all up in the comment section, y'all give me y'all thoughts. I just thought this was crazy. Until next time, yo. Peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.